Thank you. Welcome to BBC London. Good to have you with us. Coming up this evening, the bright and beautiful 25-year-old killed by her partner. Today, the family of Kennedy Westcar Sabarosh say she's been failed by the system and call for change.
We feel like Kennedy's life has been lost in vain, and I sit and I wonder, how do I look her little girl in the face, and how do I tell her story when she's a little bit older?
Also ahead tonight, how the cost of using the Dartford crossing has gone up. We get reaction. Plus, concerns over childcare places and staffing in the capital as new government-funded hours are rolled out. And
I love taking videos with red buses. Simple as that, honestly.
she can't get enough of London buses. We meet the woman affectionately known as Bus Auntie, who's racked up millions of views. Hello to you and a very warm welcome to the programme. She was described as a bright and beautiful young woman. Kennedy Westcar Sabarosh was just 25 when she was killed by her partner in April last year. Today, her family say the system has failed her after her killer was sentenced to a hospital order under the Mental Health Act for her manslaughter. Gogoa Tepe, who pleaded guilty by reason of diminished responsibility, had strangled Kennedy in her car before driving around East London with her body. Our Home Affairs correspondent, Sonia Jessup, reports.
25-year-old Kennedy Westcar Sabarosh. Her family say she lit up any room. She was killed 2 weeks before her daughter's second birthday.
Kennedy was the light and beacon of our family, and she loved her family, her life. She loved most of all her little girl.
Kennedy was killed by her partner, Gogoa Tepe. He strangled her inside his car and attacked her with a knife, then drove her body around Hackney for nearly 2 hours, stopping to buy cigarettes and to send a message to her friend from her phone, pretending to be her.
Absolute, total betrayal. I knew him for almost 10 years. He lived in my home for just over 4 years, and I thought that I could trust him to protect my daughter and to be a good dad to my granddaughter, but I was totally wrong.
The court was told that Tepe had schizophrenia, that he'd been suffering from paranoid delusions, and he previously ignored advice from mental health services not to smoke cannabis. He was charged with murder and due to face trial, but prosecutors later accepted his plea of manslaughter by reason of diminished responsibility.
Today, Judge Freya Newbury sentenced him to a hospital order under which he can be detained indefinitely. His undiagnosed condition, she said, has substantially impaired his judgment and self-control. That ruling has angered Kennedy's family.
We are shocked and disappointed to learn today that a whole hospital order with no penal element and no punishment has been handed down by Judge Newbury today. Our family are crushed. We feel like Kennedy's life has been lost in vain, and I sit and I wonder, how do I look her little girl in the face, and how do I tell her story when she's a little bit older?
They've called for an urgent review of the sentence. London's Victims Commissioner also expressed concerns, saying such cases demonstrate why a review of homicide laws currently underway is critical.
To my daughter Kennedy, I say you are loved beyond measure, remembered every day, and we will ensure your light never goes out. Kennedy.
Sonia Jessup, BBC London.
Next, from today, any driver using the Dartford crossing will pay more, in fact 40% more. So cars will now pay £3.50, while lorries will now pay £8.40. It's hoped it'll encourage fewer vehicles to use the tunnels or the bridge, easing congestion, but there has been some angry reaction. Sarah Smith has more.
At Davis Turner Freight Services, they move things around the world. It's no coincidence they're based here, in the shadow of the Dartford crossing, the main link between the Channel and anywhere north of London. But now the cost of using it has gone up for the first time since 2014.
We're using the toll with our fleet hundreds of times a week, so it's going to have a knock-on effect on our costs. Ultimately, that's going to lead to a knock-on effect to our consumers. We have quite a few staff that live over in Essex. We also don't want to run the risk of losing staff because it just all mounts up.
From end to end, the tunnel is 1,600 yards long.
The first tunnel was opened in the 60s. Demand led to another one opening 20 years later, and then a decade after that came the bridge. But traffic has continued to outgrow the crossing. The Department for Transport says putting up the tolls could manage demand and reduce congestion. And it's in Dartford where that congestion hits most.
I don't think any other routes are viable to get across, especially people that are coming up from the coast. So I don't think putting the money up will do anything. It will just create more revenue.
I don't think it's going to make any difference at all. I think people are just going to pay it and use it. I think people just want to get where they're going as quick as possible, and I think they will pay it.
It's good that it went up because there's been too much traffic on the Dartford crossing because of the Silvertown crossing that just opened.
When that happened, tolls were introduced there and for the Blackwall Tunnel too, meaning no free crossings east of the capital. But the leader of Dartford Council says putting up the price here isn't the answer.
I think tolls are probably inevitable these days because of the number of crossings across the river. So you can't have one that's free and the others that are paid. Making them all free would be uneconomic. So I accept the case for tolls, but they've got to be fair tolls. They've got to be tolls that people understand are used to maintain the bridge, to make sure the crossings are working efficiently. This has got nothing to do with that. This is a minister deciding to put tolls up in order to suppress demand. It's not the right way to do it at all.
Next year, work is due to start on the Lower Thames crossing linking Kent and Essex, given the green light by the government after years of delays. If all goes well, that should open in 2032, but that feels a long way away for today's drivers.
Sarah Smith there. Plenty more to come this Monday evening, including...
I'm out on one of the capital's canals this evening, finding out what exactly is being done to help keep them clean and litter-free.
As we've been hearing, the Prime Minister has told the BBC he wants to speed up efforts to empty asylum hotels before the next election. His comments come after another weekend of protests in Epping and Canary Wharf. On Friday, a court ruled that the Bell Hotel in Epping could continue to accommodate asylum seekers, overturning a temporary injunction which would have prevented that. Well, Victoria Hollins joins me and has more on this. Hi, Victoria. Remind us what happened over the weekend first.
Yeah, more protests as there have been across the summer. It seemed as though there were a significant number of participants this weekend following Friday's legal decision. Now, near the Bell Hotel in Epping yesterday, hundreds of people marched through the streets calling for its closure. The majority were peaceful, but there were some scuffles with police. Essex police say 3 people were arrested, including a woman who unfurled a Union flag outside the Civic Centre. Now, she was arrested because of the location. It was outside the protest area, not because of the flag. Now, in Canary Wharf, there was also a significant protest as well. Some of the protesters had face masks on and they marched from West Ferry Road into the shopping centre itself for a static protest. They say they made 4 arrests for common assault, possession of drugs and public order offences. Now, elsewhere, 5 people were arrested after a group of masked men attempted to enter a hotel in West Drayton. This was a separate protest and that hotel housed asylum seekers. That happened on Saturday. Now, as for today, there's been some court appearances today. Several men have appeared in court over an incident at a protest in Epping on Friday night. Now, one man was jailed for 8 weeks after admitting assaulting an emergency worker. Another related to a car being driven on the wrong side of the road towards a police cordon. So a lot going on.
Yeah, and those protests followed Friday's decision by the Court of Appeal.
That's right, just to remind you of what happened. Now, the protest began outside the Bell Hotel in Epping after an asylum seeker who'd been housed there was arrested and subsequently charged with several offences relating to a 14-year-old girl. Now, since then, protests have been fairly regular and they have been predominantly peaceful. Now, in mid-August, a couple of weeks ago, Epping Forest District Council was granted a temporary High Court injunction blocking asylum seekers from being housed at the Bell Hotel. But last Friday, as we heard, that decision was overturned by the Court of Appeal, so it could stay open. The Court of Appeal essentially said a court's decision shouldn't be based on protest. Now, Epping Forest District Council met today to discuss the next steps. We haven't heard any more from them on what was said. Now, they may wait till mid-October when there will be a full High Court hearing, which will decide on a permanent injunction for the Bell Hotel. It's essentially a full hearing about all the issues involved here. And as you said in the introduction, the government pledged to end the use of asylum seeker hotels by the end of the Parliament. Today, Sir Keir Starmer said he wanted to speed up those efforts. So we wait to see what happens on that front. But these protests, it has to be said, are likely to go on.
OK. Victoria, thanks very much for that. Victoria Holmes there. Now for a brief look at some of the day's other news. Almost 1 in 10 London buses continue to be affected by strike action as drivers protest over pay. It's the 4th and final day of the strike. Up to 58 routes concentrated in West, South West and North West London are impacted. Services do return to normal from 5 a.m. tomorrow. And according to a prison's watchdog report, a prisoner would almost certainly still be alive today if he had not been sent to Wandsworth Prison. It found staff repeatedly missed opportunities to help Rajwinder Singh, who took his own life 11 days after arriving at the prison in June 2023. Now, as a consultant plastic surgeon working at St Thomas's Hospital in London, Dr Victoria Rose has faced many challenges, but she says nothing could have prepared her for the work she's been doing helping casualties of the war in Gaza. She's been volunteering for the charity Ideals, which has been sending medics to Gaza since 2009. And since the start of this recent conflict, she's been documenting her visits with video diaries that she's been posting on social media. Dr Rose spoke to Layla Hayes about what it's like working in hospitals out there.
They'd built sort of makeshift tents within the hospital, so as you walk down the corridors there would be areas of the corridor just walled off with carpets and sheets and entire families living behind them on a couple of mattresses on the floor. And that was really surprising at that stage, the level of disruption that had happened.
The reports are there's anything from 100 to 200 people injured by gunshot wounds. We're receiving quite a few of the casualties now.
The May-June was appalling, the level of malnutrition, the starvation and the increased number of casualties that we were seeing. The mass casualties just didn't stop. It was really shocking.
Of course, as I'm sure you're aware, Israel say there is no policy of starvation.
There may not be a policy of starvation, but there is definitely a restriction on aid that's getting in.
We've had a bit of a delayed start because there's been quite a lot of bombing this evening. You can hear the drones again.
When you're there working in the hospital, talk me through your day. How does it work and what are you doing?
We were seeing initially in the May-June and certainly in the August mainly blast injuries. So when a bomb goes off, you're injured in 3 main ways. One is the initial shock wave or the pressure. That can, obviously that bursts eardrums. We now know that can give you a traumatic brain injury. After that you get the injuries from the heat of the explosion. That's all the burn injuries that we see, and we were seeing huge numbers of burns and quite high percentage burns. And then the last type of injuries are mainly shrapnel injuries. So when the bomb goes off, anything around you will be whipped up in that explosion and then ejected at a very high velocity. It can penetrate chest, abdomen, head. Sometimes that in itself can be fatal. But we were dealing a lot with those types of injuries. And our last 3 or 4 days were totally absorbed with gunshot wounds. That's all we really saw.
And what is it like for you, both professionally, but also as a human being to see this day in, day out?
It is hard, but you go in knowing what you're doing. And also, because of the lack of plastic surgeons in Gaza, you go in knowing that anything you do will make a big difference. So I'm in prepared to just work and keep going.
We've got quite a lot more work coming to us tomorrow, and I'm kind of in that situation now where I just want a ceasefire so that we can catch up.
It sometimes feels as though a ceasefire is just getting further and further away. What is the feeling on the ground there about the hopes for peace?
I think the feeling is that there possibly isn't any other option than a ceasefire. And certainly that is what a lot of our Palestinian colleagues are hoping for.
This is possibly my last message from Gaza, which is very sad, really.
Do you plan to go back?
I would love to go back, but I am fairly confident my application is going to be denied when I next try.
And how do your family feel about you going back?
They really don't want me to go back. I think now they've been through quite a lot of stress over the work that we've been doing, understandably, and it's, you know, it becomes very difficult to put people through that.
That was Surgeon Dr. Victoria Rose speaking to our reporter Layla Hayes. Now, from today, most working parents of children aged between 9 months and 4 years old are now entitled to 30 hours of government-funded childcare during term time. It's expected to help thousands of families, but there are concerns over shortages of staff and nursery places, especially here in the capital, because the cost of a full-time nursery place for under twos is more than 62% higher here than the cheapest provision in England. And childminder costs in London are the highest too, on average £288 a week. Plus, there are long waiting lists for places of between 12 and 18 months for many nurseries here. Well, joining me in the studio is Dr. June O'Sullivan from the London Early Years Foundation, which operates more than 40 nurseries across 13 London boroughs, a charity which has a focus on children from less well-off backgrounds. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Dr. June O'Sullivan. These government-funded childcare hours during term time has been changed from 15 hours to 30. Wouldn't many see that as a good thing, especially in London, where childcare is more expensive?
Yes, it's in principle, it's a very good thing, but I think it's sadly has been maybe mismanaged in what the promise is. So parents, I think, were expecting to have their fees really reduced and be available, you know, it be available at very low cost for the 51 weeks of the year.
So just to clarify, so the issue is because it's term time,
we have to stretch it.
You have to stretch it in effect. So what you're saying is it doesn't quite seem what it says on the tin.
No.
But as we've heard there, the shortage of places and staffing is even more acute here. So much so that in London, parents and guardians are putting their name down on multiple nurseries, which sometimes costs them up to £100 each as a deposit, which is not the case elsewhere in the country.
No, that's true. And at the moment, the funding is sort of flat, so it isn't regionalised. So therefore, London doesn't get an extra uplift because of the additional costs, because London is more expensive on every level, and therefore you want to pay your staff higher, so your staff can afford to live in London. That's one of our major problems. They need to move out because they simply can't afford, when they particularly have their own children. Even at Leaf, where we give a 70% discount for parents, parents of children who work for us, that still makes it very hard for them. So there are some tensions on that are really always go back to the funding. And also because Leaf works in 75% of our nurseries are sited in areas of deprivation. Some of the parents who won't meet the threshold, so they won't access the service. So if you think about the point of it isn't simply so parents can work. That's an infrastructure issue. It's also about the quality the children must experience. And if we have children who've got already a bit of a tough start, you really want to give them the best quality. So you want the best staff and the best funding.
So as you said, you would be looking for an uplift in terms of London regionalised. But given that that is not happening as we speak, what is your advice briefly, particularly to families, as you say, on low incomes, struggling to find nursery places, even with this change?
I mean, it's a very hard question to answer because I don't know what to say to them. I mean, we simply say make contact, of course. But also, one of the things that really needs to be sorted out is there is a huge confusion in the way fees are structured now because of a challenge that was placed by a local authority outside of London about how you identify your fees. That's not really helping parents either. So I think all you have to do is they have to come and knock at the door and ask questions.
Right. So perhaps more transparency and recognition
and some clarity. I think some real clarity would be really helpful.
Really good to speak to you, Dr. June O'Sullivan. Many thanks for your time. Now, for some, they are the lifeblood of our city. Our canals and rivers bring lots of joy to Londoners. As well as the waterways, the canal paths are bustling too. And in many places, the surrounding areas are watched over carefully by volunteers. One of them is Elena Hokaho, who finds litter picking along the canal helps her mental health. Here she is.
It's a glove and a trash bag, and we go for it. I'm Elena. Every morning I wake up around 2 hours prior to work and I just go along the canal path and fill it with any waste that I find. And I do that before work, ahead of people coming and using the canal. My mind got really overwhelmed with the fact that I can't control what's happening in the world. We can talk about Valencia and floodings, we can talk about Sudan and war, we could talk about anything. All of that information is very isolating and overwhelming for me. So I decided to start walking along the canal in the morning. But as I was walking down the canal, I realized no one would be looking after the trash, there was no bins. So I just decided one morning to just go along with a trash bag and some gloves. And it's now been a year and I'm still doing that. It's quite tricky to do because the Canal River Trust don't accept responsibility for the waste. So there's no one to take away the waste. And as a one-man show, it's also really hard to transport these waste bags. It got to a point where it got really bad with the CRT. So I've been trying to contact the Canal River Trust for about a year. It got to a point with email where I was like, you're really slow. I'll try social media. It's open, it's transparent. I was like, you know what? I feel like everybody should know that the CRT don't look after their canals. So that's why I decided to post, because I was about to stop cleaning. And then I had like over 400 people be like, go on girl, you're so cool. So I haven't stopped. It's just been really good. It's just been like every day or every other day I just get a notification. It's like, go girl, you're amazing. So it's just been kindness.
Well, it's fairly busy along the Regent's Canal here in Islington. We've got lots of dog walkers and runners and people out enjoying an evening drink actually just behind the camera here. And while there's not much litter in this section, I actually walked here from Victoria Park and spotted a fair bit of litter on my walk here, including a fair few beer cans. Now, the Canal and River Trust told us in relation to Elena that while she might feel alone in tackling London's litter waste, she is in fact one of hundreds of volunteers who help the charity keep London's canals alive by picking up litter and also carrying out general maintenance. And the Trust said it is delighted when more local people take an interest in the towpaths and the canals, but said it would be more effective to collect bagged waste when it's part of the regular organised volunteer events that the charity runs. And a little earlier I spoke with Eddie Davis from the charity.
It would be great if people could go onto the Canal and River Trust website and look up our volunteering opportunities. They can have a look at how they can help out in their local area and take their rubbish home, and any way that you want to come and help out, we want to try and facilitate it, and we want to try and make everyone happy and safe in looking after their local area.
Well, the Canal and River Trust say we all have a part to play in ensuring that the canals and towpaths are kept clear. They're advising us all not to drop litter, and if we're in a position to pick some up and bag it away, well, that is what we should do. And they're hoping that if we all do that, places like these along the Regent's Canal will be more pleasant for us all. Riz.
Noted. Barry, thanks very much. Now to a Londoner who's gone viral on social media over, wait for it, her love of London buses. Some of Bus Auntie, as she's known, her selfie videos around the capital have clocked up nearly 50 million views. Here she is telling us why she's so enthusiastic about buses.
I took a video and I posted it on TikTok. Didn't think much about it until I received a phone call from my daughter. Mommy, you're going viral. It's like, what? My name is Bemi Orojogun. Let me just get my phone out. People online know me as Bus Auntie. I love taking videos with red buses. Simple as that, honestly. Probably my biggest one so far is about 48 million, I think. I've managed to do a video with London Mayor.
Hello, Boss Auntie.
IKEA, Burberry, which was fantastic. It's not coming. It's picking up somebody. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed by why is people loving it? Then I'm wondering, but why not? These buses are beautiful. London is beautiful. If you go on red buses at night, you just enter Trafalgar Square and you see the light. What is more beautiful than that? Isn't that beautiful? Look. One of my things that I would like people to take out of this really is please take time to appreciate those bus drivers. I think I should become a bus driver, shouldn't I? Hello! When I'm not doing this video, I'm actually a qualified nurse. I'm a mental health nurse. I want to thank them personally for all their hard work during COVID. Without them, I won't be able to get to work.
You know what? Every time I come to work now, I'm a bit more enthusiastic because I want to see her on the roads.
Aww.
It brings me a smile on my face all the time.
They are wonderful. They work so hard. I appreciate them and thank them a lot for what they're doing. And when they see me on the road, they should smile at me because I'm definitely going to smile back.
Isn't she great? And with that, also great, Kate's here with a look at September's weather. Hiya.
Thank you very much, Riz. Good evening. Well, it is, of course, the first day of meteorological autumn, and the weather, it seems, is proving thus. We have had quite an unsettled day, but we've had some sunshine too. And in the sunshine, actually, the temperature got up to 20 Celsius at London City Airport today. We've also had a fair few of these as well. Some really pokey showers through the course of the day. This afternoon, out towards South Buckinghamshire, Southwest Hertfordshire, we've had some rumbles of thunder in there as well. Not so much across London and the south. Next few days, very similar. Sunshine and showers and longer spells of rain. Now, all driven by this area of low pressure. You can see these fronts moving through the isobars, squeezing together. So it's going to be quite blustery over the next few days as well. But back to this evening. Now, those showers from this afternoon, still one or two around, but they're going to clear through. Largely dry, but as we head into tomorrow morning, you'll start to see these showers coming back towards us. Maximum, or rather minimum temperature 11 to 13, the wind falling a bit lighter overnight as well. Now for tomorrow, some sunny spells to start with. You can see the cloud increases, those showers arrive, still the chance of a few rumbles of thunder, perhaps less so than today, and the wind a little lighter, still blustery, clearing through, but we could get some brighter spells by the end of the day. Temperatures tomorrow similar to today in the high teens, around 18 or 19 Celsius. Then overnight Tuesday and through Wednesday, so drier overnight. Then we're going to see this band of quite heavy rain moving through on Wednesday itself, clearing gradually into the afternoon. Some sunny spells, it's blustery, temperatures 20 Celsius. Then, as we head through Thursday, still a few showers around for Thursday, but they should clear through. And then a ridge of high pressure starts to build as we head through Friday and into the weekend. And actually, things are going to get more settled and warmer by Sunday.
Oh, thankfully. Thanks, Kate. So, hello September, but you can check out the best August pics from our weather watchers on our Instagram. Thanks for watching and enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.